the thing about Movember is it's not just about mental health, but people always say mental health when they say health. It's about your prostate. It's about getting lumps checked, or which we don't do anyway. I think we get that fear. We're fear based. Men are, but then I have this argument that why is it only Movember? What's wrong with December and February and March? And we have these set months for these where it gets highlighted, but does it go missing as the year goes on? It should be a conversation that should be had on the daily.
Marcus, how difficult is that first conversation to say, I need to talk to somebody? I am not okay. Because we've mentioned it before, I think, in a podcast with a couple of guests, to stand up in front of a room of people or even your loved ones and say, I'm not okay, is probably one of the most difficult things to do. You feel like you've divulged state secrets and everybody's going to die. Like it's that weight, that feeling for, and that's how I would describe it with certain things, is a huge weight on your shoulders. And you talk about pressure in sport, but now we're talking about the pressure in your own life and in your own head and in your own person. How difficult is that first conversation to move towards a bit of help?
Well, I relate everything back to, so even when I was injured, if I was injured and I'd say I'm feeling a bit of a niggle, the lads would go, give over, you're okay. And you'd play through an injury and you could do yourself more damage.
It's like that, like that hamstring from the sports day again, Marcus, huh?
Here we go again. Well, now I'm like, I'm not, even now, I suppose, with running, if I feel a twinge, I'm listening to my body. I'm saying, okay, I know what's a niggle and I know what needs to be checked out. But when people say, would you give over? Come on, get out on that run. You could do yourself more damage. When you hear that conversation in someone's house going, I'm feeling a bit down. How would you, come on, have an L pint, will sort it. Or, come on, we'll go for a pint, and we'll go to the match, or we'll stick on the telly. And that was just the easy way out. That doesn't work anymore because, blocking out whatever pain a drink may help, a drug may help, because you're trying to put that pain away, but then the pain is still there. The sadness is still there. Whether you're hungover or the come down, or you've even just wake up the next day, it's back. And it is lonely because you do probably think, myself, I thought I was the only one that felt like this. I had a lovely partner, had a great house, had a good job. I had the cheek to be sad, the cheek of me. So it did take a lot. It took maybe 3 to 6 months of me looking at a number and saying, will I or won't I? Will I? Who do I find? Who's the right person? Again, by chance, I just booked in with someone, and then I cancelled, and then where I was working, the same name came in and booked in. Like, it was a lady's name, but it was the same name as the therapist. And I went, well, maybe that's a sign. And I went, and I wouldn't be a therapist if it wasn't for my therapist, because she ended up saying to me that I had a good eye and a good ear, and the way I was working things out, did I ever think about being a therapist? So stuff happens just like that. But initially, it's difficult. It's difficult. And what I've learned is you have to meet people in their shoes, because, if I have a broken arm and, you have a broken arm, whose pain is more? I can still work because it's a broken arm, but you mightn't be able to work, which means you're housebound, which means you're not socializing, which means you're not interacting. So mentally, it could be actually a lot worse than you. It's just still the broken arm. So being able to meet someone and go, I feel your pain, I understand it. It must be tough.
Is this a full circle moment that goes back to the start of this podcast? We talked about you jumping into the sea, swimming and all that, because as someone who hates the water, I can't understand why anyone would jump into the sea any time of year, let alone November, December, January, and all the rest leading into all that. Is that one of the is that one of the reasons you jumped in? You talked about cold water therapy and stuff to start this podcast. Is that a reason?
Do you know what? Again, it's only just personal, and probably people will shoot me for this because, those people that have ice baths out on their back, and, fair play to them, because I wouldn't do it on my own. I did it for the community aspect. I liked the shelters. I liked the energy that it brought. Yes, the sea dipping had to be included. So you're arguing, you're battling in bed, you're sort of saying, oh, I'm not going out today. And then you get out of bed and you're in the car and you're like, oh, I'm not going to get out. The wind is blowing. And then you're in the car and you get out of the car and you go, oh, the tide is miles out. So you're battling constantly. But when you get in and you immerse yourself for 3 or 4 minutes and get your breathing right, and you just calm. When you come out, it's as if you'd said, right, I've beaten my mind. I've won the day. Bring on anything. Bring on anything, because I won. And I think sometimes we're the ones that tell ourselves that we can't do something. We're the ones that tell ourselves that we're not good enough. Yes, there's a belief from somewhere, but effectively we're the ones that can try and change it and say, do you know what, you're not going to win today.
I think that's a huge benefit of it, because when people talk about cold water therapy, some are like, oh, well, the science says this, it's not that great for the body, that's just a placebo effect and all the rest. But what you just said there was, that's a challenge of going out there. You're in that warm car, the heater's on and everything, well, it is in my case, and you're looking out and going, maybe it is a bit choppy, it's not that safe today, I'm going to drive off and do something else, or there's too many people watching, or whatever reason comes in your head at the time, and off you go. But when you face that battle and you do it, like, it's the same, not going for people listening that don't do that, like myself, going for that run, you don't want to go, it's a bit wet out, but when you do it, mentally, you feel so much better for it.
I think you've often said it on the podcast, you never feel bad after the run that you decided to do. You'll always feel worse at the one that you didn't do.